Welcome to Học Tiếng Anh với Joseph, where we build vocabulary and practice pronunciation through reading. Continue with The Cat in the Box, story number 25. The story is about the discovery of asteroids. And it's titled Cosmic Rubble. At the beginning of the 19th century, astronomers knew of the existence of 7 planets. 4 of them were relatively small, rocky planets relatively close to the Sun: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. They are now collectively known as the terrestrial planets. The other 3 were much larger and much farther out from the Sun: the gas giants Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. Neptune would not be discovered until 1846. But there was an intriguingly large gap between the orbits of Mars and the orbit of Jupiter, and many people speculated about a missing planet that might have been expected to fit into the gap. At the instigation of the Hungarian astronomer Franz Xaver von Zach, then working in the German city of Gotha, invitations were sent out to 24 astronomers, asking them to carry out a coordinated search for the missing planet. But one of the people on the list, the Sicilian Giuseppe Piazzi, working in Palermo, found something before the invitation even reached him. On January 1st, 1801, Piazzi was carrying out routine observations when he noticed something that initially looked to him like a star that was not in the catalogs. But that further observations showed to be moving. At first he thought it was a comet, and on January the 24th, he wrote to a couple of colleagues to announce the discovery. But even at this early stage, another thought occurred to him. In those letters, he said, "Since its movement is so slow and rather uniform, it has occurred to me several times that it might be something better than a comet. That something better would, of course, be a planet." Piazzi fell ill on February 11th and stopped observing the object. But he spread the news with full details of his observations in April 1801. Because of the movement of the Earth in its orbit around the Sun, by that time, the supposed planet could not be seen against the glare of the Sun. But there was enough information for the German mathematician Carl Friedrich Gauss to calculate the orbit of the object and predict where it would be found when the Earth had moved further around its orbit. Armed with this prediction, von Zach and another German, Heinrich Olbers, each independently spotted it on December 31st. Confirming the orbit and convincing everyone that it was indeed a planet. This was also a neat example of theoretical calculation and experiment or observation coming together to confirm a hypothesis. As the discoverer of the new planet, Piazzi was able to choose its name. He proposed CERES Ferdinandae, from the names of the Roman goddess of agriculture and the then King of Sicily. But in an echo of the late William Herschel's proposed name for Uranus, the Ferdinandae was quickly dropped. CERES it became. But this was not the end of the story. On March 28, 1802, while looking for Ceres, Albert discovered a similar object at about the same distance from the Sun. This became known as Pallas. More objects orbiting the Sun in the gap between Mars and Jupiter were soon discovered, and Herschel gave them the name asteroid, meaning star-like, because they resemble small stars so much as hardly to be distinguished from them. From this, their asteroidal appearance, if I take my name and call them asteroids, reserving for myself, however, the liberty of changing that name, if another more expressive of their nature should occur. In all other respects, though, this is a completely inappropriate name. At first, the asteroids were thought to be the remnants of a planet that had disintegrated. But detailed studies over many decades suggest that it is more likely that they are pieces of rubble left over from the formation of the solar system. Pieces that failed to make a planet perhaps because of the gravitational influence of Jupiter, which has ejected much more stuff than we see today from the region. This region of the solar system where these objects are still found became known as the asteroid belt. There are more than 200 asteroids bigger than 62 miles or 100 kilometers across, and about 1 million smaller objects. But the total mass is only about 4% of the mass of our moon. The 4 largest asteroids, Ceres, Pallas, Vesta, and Hygiea, together made up half that mass. Ceres alone, which contains a third of the total mass of the asteroid belt, is a round object 590 miles or 950 kilometers in diameter that orbits the Sun once every 4 and 4.6 years. Smaller asteroids are irregularly shaped lumps of rock and ice because it is big enough to have become round due to its self-gravity. Ceres was classified as a dwarf planet by the International Astronomical Union in 2006. But as there has never been a definition of an asteroid except for Herschel's, it is also regarded as the largest asteroid. Moving on to the vocabulary section, just a few today. Terrestrial, gas giant or gas giants. Instigation, instigator, instigation, instigating, instigated. Many variations. Asteroid, Thiên Thạch asteroid. Although tiếng Việt Nam Thiên Thạch là thiên là trời, thạch là đá, right? Nhưng mà tiếng Latin của chữ asteroid thì lại star-like, tức là như là sao. Remnants, disintegrate, integrate, disintegrate. Dwarf planets. Chữ dwarf này rất là khó, cần phải practice rất là nhiều. Giống như là trong Bạch Tuyết và Bảy Chú Lùn thì Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So D-W-A-R-F, dwarf. Try. It's not easy. You just have to practice and practice and practice. Say it maybe 10 times. Dwarf, 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 dwarf. Something like that. Anyway, I hope you had fun with pronouncing that word. thank you for your time. And as usual, I'm going to see you in the next story. Bye for now.